I'm Timothy Smalls, the Wheeling Traveler. It came to me that I should finally let you all know who is the Wheeling Traveler? Who is this guy? So here's my story in the Reader's Digest version, okay? I started as a travel agent in the year 2000, July 1st, 2000, as a matter of fact. And at first, I was just doing wherever people wanted to go. I was doing church trips and ministers going on different trips for their sermons, revivals, and things. My father's a pastor, so where I grew up in. And so what happened was eventually I started doing group cruises, and I actually escorted my first group cruise from New Orleans. I flew to New Orleans and went with them to Cozumel. And what happened was we were on a daily basis, having dinner, and I'd walk around each table and ask, how's everything going? Do you like what you're doing? And do you like the cruise? And people started saying, I want to do this for my family. I want to do this for my family. I want to do this for my family. And it started to blossom, and I created a business out of going on group cruises. So I started planning group cruises, and that was going fine until 2012 when I was a type 2 diabetic. And so what happened was I had the right leg below my knee amputated, based, from diabetes situations. And so what happened was I was on a pre-planned travel agent conference in Fort Lauderdale. And when I had to speak at that conference, and after I left that conference, I ended up going to the U.S. Virgin Islands. U.S. Virgin Islands now, keep that in mind. And I actually went to the island of St. Croix. I was on it was Christiansted was the name of the town. And if you've seen my website, www.thewheelingtraveler.com, you'll see a picture of me in a wheelchair, and that's me in Christiansted, St. Croix. But what happened was, while I was there, and I was there about 3 months, and while I was there, I was in a manual wheelchair, okay? And so what happened was, just getting around the island was a challenge. It was a real nightmare. The streets were not graded. Apparently, no one told the governor of St. Croix that President Bush had signed the ADA, because it was a terrible experience. And so all the problems I had, as an example of what I had to do, if I was going to a pub, okay, in Christiansted, I'd have to, in my manual wheelchair now, I'd have to stand up on one leg, I'd have to fold up the wheelchair, I'd have to slide the wheelchair through the doors of the pub, I'd have to hop in to the pub on one leg, and then open up the chair again and sit down in the wheelchair. That's ridiculous, but that's what I had to do. So when I got home back to Philadelphia, I told my father about all the problems I had while I was there. And he says, why don't you think of a way to help people who want to travel who are in wheelchairs? That's a good idea, Dad! So that's what I did, and that's how the Wheeling Traveler came to be. So that's how we started. And so I thank God for my late father, Reverend Leonard Smalls, for actually coming up with the concept of the Wheeling Traveler.